UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who famously justified Israel cutting off food, water, and electricity supply to Gaza in 2023, is suddenly pretending to care about the Palestinians. He has issued an extraordinary statement announcing his intention to recognize the state of Palestine in September if the settler colony of Israel doesn't fulfill certain conditions announced by him. These conditions include agreeing for a ceasefire, stop occupying more Palestinian land in the occupied West Bank, and resuming the entry of at least 500 aid trucks into Gaza under the guidance of UN agencies. Let's watch his video statement first.
On the 7th of October 2023, Hamas perpetrated the worst massacre in Israel's history. Every day since then, the horror has continued. The hostages are still being held today. The Palestinian people have endured terrible suffering. Now, in Gaza, because of a catastrophic failure of aid, we see starving babies, children too weak to stand, images that will stay with us for a lifetime. The suffering must end. Yesterday, I discussed this with President Trump, and we're mounting a major effort to get humanitarian supplies back in by air, and UK aid has been airdropped into Gaza today, and crucially, by land. We need to see at least 500 trucks entering Gaza every day. But ultimately, the only way to bring this humanitarian crisis to an end is through a long-term settlement. So we are supporting the US, Egyptian and Qatari efforts to secure a vital ceasefire. That ceasefire must be sustainable, and it must lead to a wider peace plan, which we're developing with our international partners. This plan will deliver security and proper governance in Gaza and pave the way for negotiations on a two-state solution. Our goal remains a safe and secure Israel alongside a viable and sovereign Palestinian state. But right now, that goal is under pressure like never before. I've always said that we will recognize a Palestinian state as a contribution to a proper peace process at the moment of maximum impact for the two-state solution. With that solution now under threat, this is the moment to act. So today, as part of this process towards peace, I can confirm the UK will recognise the State of Palestine by the United Nations General Assembly in September, unless the Israeli government takes substantive steps to end the appalling situation in Gaza, agree to a ceasefire, and commit to a long-term sustainable peace, reviving the prospect of a two-state solution. And this includes allowing the UN to restart the supply of aid and making clear that there will be no annexations in the West Bank. Meanwhile, our message to the terrorists of Hamas is unchanged and unequivocal. They must immediately release all of the hostages, sign up to a ceasefire, disarm, and accept that they will play no part in the government of Gaza. And we'll make an assessment in September on how far the parties have met these steps, but no one should have a veto over our decision. So this is the way forward. We will keep working with all our international partners to end the suffering, get aid flooding into Gaza, and deliver a more stable future for the Middle East. Because I know that is what the British people desperately want to see. Thank you.
Earlier, France had made a similar pledge, only to be met with utter disdain by bloodthirsty terrorist Benjamin Netanyahu and his convicted friend and suspected pedophile Donald Trump. It remains to be seen how both these war criminals react to Starmer's announcement. But BBC's Jeremy Bowen thinks that Starmer's announcement makes a paradigm shift in the UK's stand on the Middle East, and therefore today's development, according to him, is a huge deal.
Don't forget that the Americans have been absolutely condemnatory of that conference that Foreign Secretary Lamy has been speaking at the United Nations in New York. The State Department put out a very strong statement yesterday using a really harsh tone, condemning it as a reward for terrorism and saying it was interfering with America's own plans to try to bring a wider peace in the Middle East. So I think that at the moment there's actually a stark division in the Western camp between Britain, France. I mean, maybe that Canada might follow suit. Some people have talked about that. And on the other hand, the Americans supporting the Israelis. But from the British point of view, this is a real change. It was only a month or two ago that I was hearing from diplomatic sources that, yes, they wanted to progress towards recognition in concert with the French, but what they wanted to do was to impose benchmarks on the Palestinian side. Now they're imposing benchmarks on the Israeli side.
But I'm not going to be excited by Starmer's statement yet. He is the last politician that one should trust. He's acquired a PhD in reneging on his promises. He's also a man whose dependence on the Israeli lobby is crucial for his own survival as the UK's Prime Minister. He is therefore simply not in a position to make Netanyahu change course. This announcement is designed to calm the angry Labour backbenchers and therefore avoid a potential rebellion in the party. You only have to see the angry reactions from Labour MPs in Parliament in recent weeks.
Earlier today, then, 31 countries put out a powerful message. The war must end now. There must be aid going into Gaza, unrestricted. The hostages must be released, and all parties must uphold international law. It was sent to Israel, and by return, this powerful message was rejected. It was denounced by Israel as disconnected from reality.
Shocking.
So what now?
How can it be that we have a situation where IDF are firing at children, systematically going for head, stomach and testicles before their sport, and we have Rafah razed to the ground and this euphemistic humanitarian city being constructed, which the former Prime Minister of Israel called a concentration camp? When are we going to take the appropriate action to bring about comprehensive and full trade and arms embargo and concentrate the mind of Israel? Because nothing else is working. They're not listening. They're getting away with murder every single day.
Former Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn and former Labour MP Zara Sultana have also launched a new party in the last few days. Going by the response to their newly launched party, the Labour Party under Starmer looks set to become history. So please see his announcement in the context of these crucial developments. If Starmer was indeed sincere and moved by the sufferings of Palestinians, he would have at least condemned Netanyahu and his medieval gang of terrorists for forcing up to 2 million people to starve for so many months. We have gone past the stage of these corrupt politicians using flowery language to hide their moral bankruptcy and complicity in war crimes. You only have to see how he crawled before Trump when both of them met yesterday in Scotland. Netanyahu may agree to allowing a few aid trucks into Gaza for the time being, and everything would be forgotten. This dreaded terrorist of Polish descent called Benjamin Netanyahu would never be held accountable for his unspeakable crimes against humanity, for slaughtering children and babies, for burning them alive, for stealing formula milk meant for infants, for dropping 2,000-pound American bombs on schools, hospitals, churches, and tents. You think of the worst crime, and this terrorist called Netanyahu has committed that in Gaza in the past 22 months. And Starmer has been a key figure supporting this dreaded terrorist commit these crimes against humanity. So thanks, but no thanks. That said, I'm happy to be proven wrong in my assessment on Starmer. That's it from me. Thank you very much for your support of this platform and our journalism on buymeacoffee.com and Patreon. If you do think that our journalism is worth supporting, then you too should consider becoming part of it. Details are there in the description of this video. In the meantime, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so, because that's one of the many ways you can support independent journalism. God bless you all.